Everything you wanted is waiting at the door.
Everything you wanted,
everything you wanted,
don't feel like yours anymore.
Diamond on the outside,
diamond on the outside,
hollow at the core.
You built the whole cathedral. Now what did you build it for? The dining room was designed for 20. Sat there alone at midnight in the distance, felt like plenty. Documentation of a ride was spread across the table. Every accolade a photograph of someone I was able to perform on certain evenings when the audience was watching. The version with the posture and the presence and the polish. Surface of a man who had delivered every
deadline.
Walked through every door and drew the sharpest deadline. The dining room at midnight has a different kind of ceiling. When the audience is left and there is nothing left but
feeling.
The specific weight of everything you earn inside the quiet. The diamond of your life, you built the casket. Now reside in it.
You wanted the room.
The room has no warmth in it.
You wanted the name.
The name has no form in it.
You wanted the throne.
No throne has no home in it. You built the
whole cathedral.
Now you're alone in it.
Diamond casket.
Built it with your own hands.
Diamond casket.
Executed all your plans.
Everything you sacrificed
is in the walls now.
Diamond casket.
Gorgeous from the outside. Nothing left to feel now. I remember when the warning was the warmest thing I carried. When the dream was in the distance and the distance made it varied. And alive there was the voltage and the not yet and the almost. The electric of the reaching is a feeling you can't forecast. Once you've landed, I planned it down to every angle. But the plan is never grand once it's no longer the gamble. So I sat inside the silence of the sun that I had scaled. Took the inventory of everything and catalog betrayal of what I traded for the altitude, the texture of the trade was
everything that mattered when the matter was still
weightless. The unscheduled afternoon, the conversation without agenda. The version of myself that nobody had invented. Who moves through Tuesday without performance or precision. Who love without emotion, decided without vision. I had treated him completely for the diamond. Both the casket and the crown to rise simultaneously.
There is a loneliness that only arrives after you get exactly what you asked for. Nobody warns you about that one.
So I rebuilt with a different set of blueprints. Not the build for the audience, the build for the human. Strip the diamond of the surface, examine what was under. Found the version of myself they buried in the thunder of ambition, excavated carefully, deliberately. The careful was the thing I lost separately from the self-corrected, self-directed, the one vision. Rebuilt every room with warmth instead of wit.
The diamond is still there. I didn't discard the constructed. I just learned the difference between living and conducted. Performance of a life. The casket was the lesson. You can build the most beautiful prison. It's still pressure. Diamond casket.
Built it with your own hands.
Everything you sacrificed.
It's in my walls now. Break it over. The most expensive thing you'll ever own is the version of yourself you sold to own it. Every empty morning was a monument to making it. Walk before the world decided what was worth awakening. The ache of being adjacent to the life I was envisioning was sharper than the sharpest blade. I sharpened it to glisten. Studied in the shadows of the ones who never studied me. Absorbed the architecture of ambition hungrily. The hunger was a language only certain people understood. Fluent in the feeling of the fire under frozen wood. Nothing in the atmosphere suggested I was destined for it. The data was against me and I questioned and I wrestled for it. Every door a lesson, every lesson had a better door. I couldn't see until I broke the first one. Then I envied more. The season of the starving is the season of the sharpening. Every day I didn't eat the dream. I felt the hardening of something in the center of my chest. A calcifying certainty. The hunger was the only proof that I was trying.
Same season, different skin on the same bone. Same reason, different wind but the same tone. Same fear, hunger sounds the same alone. Hunger season, you don't need until you build it. Hunger season, every doubt room you filled it.
the way to wanting something.
Nobody handed you.
Hunger is the only honest thing
that ever told you true.
Now I'm running out of rhythm that the rest is recognized. Every river that I crossed was a revision in disguise. Every revision was a vision I revised and realized. Every compromise I made was a surprise I analyzed. Relentless in the research, ruthless in the reckoning. I rendered every reversal into relevant reckoning. The reckless and the ready are the same when it's beckoning. The difference is the ones who move before the second thing. Strip the situation down to salvageable sequences. Every setback was a set of solvable equations. The patient and the impatient share identical ambitions. The patient builds the bridge while the impatient blades conditions. I documented every door they close before I knock it. Father feeling like the lesson cataloged and pocketed. Every piece of pressure till the pressure became profit. The build. Now you got it. The season didn't break, we know the season. Try the season, know the cycle of the hungry is the cycle of the reasonable. Response to unreasonable existence. That was reasonable when reasonable was asking me to swallow the swallowable.
Every season, you don't eat until you build it. Hunger season me. Every doubt on you filled it. The ones who stay learn how to bear.
The way to want is something
nobody handed you.
Hunger is the only honest thing
that ever told you true.
You'll be tired.
It's not a warning, it's a promise.
You will be doubted.
It's not a setback, that's the calm.
You gon' be close 100 times before the door opens. 100 times it close.
And not 100 losses.
It's 100 lessons.
We're in the same costume.
So I speak for every version of myself that almost settled. Every iteration tested by the temperature of metal and the pressure. Every vessel that was tested proved this level. The disheveled and the settled share the same ass thirst to print. I read the room and reading rooms was reading between the wreckage. I kept the message when the message was the only thing left for me. The lesson was the ledger and the ledger was the method. The method was the moving felt like severing the tether of comfort. Comfort is a coffin with exceptional upholstery. I chose the cold exposure over beautiful enclosure. The composure that I carry was constructed in the open, not donated, not inherited. It's spoken into being bar by bar, scar by scar, far from where I started. The hungry ones who finished were the ones who never parted from the version of themselves that know before they know it. Hunger season never ends, it just changes what you grow.
You planted in the drought, you watered with a doubt.
What grows from hunger season? Nothing takes it out.
Nothing takes it out.
I found your letters in the drawer beside the window. I didn't understand all of it, but I kept every page.
I wrote the first one when the words had nowhere left to. When everything I felt was bigger than the thing I had in hand to hold it with. No vocabulary for the specific. Gravity of loss alone surrounds and makes it explicit. That the people who were permanent were never permanent. That the architecture of the family has its terminus. Appointed season, I was not prepared for the appointment. Nobody's hit a rise without a single anointment. A warning, just the ordinary Tuesday going quiet. Then the silence where a voice was. Then the riot of the mundane suddenly unbearable and waited. Every room a different frequency of what I hated. Losing, so I wrote it. Every letter was a ledger of the living. Every sentence was a measure of the distance I was carrying. Stone letters, heavy in the writing, heavier in the weather. But the years that followed, but they held me to the letters were the only way I learned to feel. Without dissolving, writing down, the stone remains long after everything that built you rearranges. I wrote for the ones who, before I finished, I wrote for the ones who, the years I've diminished. I wrote for the version of myself that needed witness. Stone letters written into stone letters. Everything you couldn't say out loud. Stone letters. Stone letters. Heavier than grief and twice as proud. Stone letters. Stone letters. The ones you write but never send. Stone letters. Outlast everything, they never end.
Double time quad rhymes, 12 bars,
Now I'm
documenting
every fragment
of the fabric
I was handed
every strand,
with understanding,
carefully
expanded
the language
of the
blended back
learn
without a
lesson.
every
Gesture
of the
generation was a
blessed,
and
broken
blueprint because beautiful
things,
fracture
blessed,
because the fact
fracture,
shows the truth inside the
jacked up,
I inherited
the silence,
and the stories told them
silence,
of the dialect
if dignity maintained through a violence,
against the self-swallowing
the sorrow
in the service
of a family,
I recognize
surface
for the cost
of carrying
without the language.
to release.
So I
Hope the language
let her
after pride grew.
free it. Stone everything you couldn't say out loud. Stone the ones you write but never send. Stone outlast everything they never.
Every version of myself, it held it all without a page to hold it. To every generation installed the weight, cause the weight had nowhere else to go. To the child who found my letters in the drawer and kept every page without knowing why. This is why you write the stone, so the ones who come after have something solid to stand on.
Everything you couldn't say out loud. Heavier than grief and twice as loud. The ones you write would never send. We own everything that. Write it down. Even if nobody reads it. Especially if nobody reads it. The stone remains.
No singing on rap sections. Those don't announce their arrival. They adjust to the silence. I learned that the hard way, watching alliances dissolve in a single season. Reasons, wrapping smiles and handshakes that I said from my own table, capable of cable, cutting every wire I laid. The blade of their betrayal was professional. The confessional was empty when I needed absolution. I watched the watches on their wrists. The ticking was a tale. Time reveals the texture of a person if you listen well. Loyalty was language they could speak but never practice. The elegant performance of the wolf behind the cactus. Beautiful from distance, every gesture acted syntax. I collected all the data, filed it under facts as facts. The room was full of witnesses the night the warmth evaporated. 30 faces watching and not one of them demonstrated anything resembling what they swore when we inaugurated this. I stood alone inside the wreckage, educated.
Who's where watches? Time is all that counts. And every grin a gateway, every word a mountain that you didn't know you owed and feel the interest surfaced. Loyalty was never their investment. Who's where watches?
I read every second.
Now I'm moving in silence.
Let the silence be the weapon.
Let the silence be the way.
Now I'm separating signals from the static systematically. Every satellite is something to be examined academically. The pattern of the parasite is practically identical. They gravitating gradually, then pivot in the pinnacle toward their own position. Every proposition political, every visit had a motive, and the motive was reciprocal extraction. I abstracted every action analytically. The fraction of the fraction told me everything specifically. Reckless with my readings, relentless with the reckoning. I beckoned every lesson up the depths of every beckoning. The medicine, the distance I prescribed it, I accepted it, respected every wall I built and every bridge I severed with precision. Every decision was a surgical revision of the vision I inherited and sharpened to a prism. Now the prison of their opinion is a place I rarely visit. I outgrew the room and nobody noticed till I split it. Every wolf eventually reveals the weight they carry, and the watch was always ticking, but the ticking was the varying between the versions of themselves. They sold me in that actual. I cataloged the gap and found it under contractual illusion. I concluded that the circle needed shrink and executed every exit while they stood around me drinking toast to my potential. I was called before the clinking, moved in silence, built in darkness. Not a standing that's still pink.
Time is all that counted. Every grin a gateway, every word a mountain. They're debating on you all until the interest surface. Oh, loyalty was never their investment.
I read every second.
Now I'm moving in silence.
Let the silence be the weapon.
I used to mistake consistency for love.
I used to mistake the presence. Now I know the difference
between a witness and a wound.
So I rebuilt the weightiest, deliberate, the iterate of every intimate became illegitimate. Under school we needed unity, was unity and surface. And service of the circle was a circus with a purpose. A surface from the wreckage with a working set of instruments. Every incident, ain't permit, every impediment, a blueprint for a building that then told me wasn't buildable. I built it anyway. It's syllable by syllable, the visible made visible, the invisible made tangible. Polytones in the builder in the building, still expanding past the bandwidth. You're the ones who tried to limit it. The gift that came to give her, and the giver was infinite. They wore the watches, I was watching what they watched for. They counted every second, I was building what they clocked more carefully than clockwork. Now the clock is in my corner. The moves are still, I'm circling. Yeah, but the circles finish. There is a season that arrives without announcement. When everything you built starts asking you, who built it? I stopped recognizing the reflection somewhere around.
30.
Not the face was fine. The face was only 30. It was everything behind it, the machinery of
Posture,
the practice set of gestures and the calibrated.
composure.
I performed so consistently, I
Forgot.
it was a performance. Lived inside the character so long I lost the
Former,
resident. The one who moved without it,
audience, mind,
who laughed without her,
reason,
and got lost without her.
fine,
I started asking questions in the margins of the
midnight,
small ones first, the kind that feel rhetorical
and slight,
and answerable, then bigger than the kind with no
coordinates,
the kind that open inward like a wound that
decorate,
itself with depth. The more you
Look.
I looked and kept on
Looking.
Mirror season had arrived and I was
cook inside the cooking.
I wanted the certainty had
Left me,
I wanted the clarity had
left me,
I wanted the version of myself I
recognize,
mirror season took him, left me.
agonize. Mirror season,
When the man you were goes quiet,
mirror season,
when the life you built feels borrowed,
mirror season,
every answer starts a
riot, mirror season,
you can't skip it only.
follow,
Now I'm navigating something that the language hasn't.
named yet,
The architecture of the
self,
is being
frame different,
than the
frame,
you inherited. I
entered
every
chamber
of the
interior,
I'd avoid
every stranger
in the
hallway,
of my history. I'd walk past without
stopping,
every and blocked and go. I kept on
Dropping.
keys for. Now I stood there with the
inventory,
Open.
every unexamined,
Room.
a revelation,
In a-
frequency,
I'd filtered. Now I listen.
without limit,
Every difficult inheritance
examine,
to the
minute,
The mirror wasn't
showing me a
stranger.
it was showing,
The original
I'd buried,
still alive and still
growing. Mirror season,
when the man you were goes quiet.
mirror season,
Every answer starts a
riot,
You can't negotiate the
season,
You can only move.
treason,
That's how the real you get.
even,
The hardest mirror isn't the one on the wall. It's the one in the silence. After everyone leaves the room, and you're still there, still asking. Yeah. So I sat with every version I had
silence,
in the service of the
person,
I was
forming,
gave each
its own,
surface, gave each
its own, dignity,
Each
season,
its own,
reading,
each move
its own,
instead of just the
Leading.
I learned that ability is not a destination.
it's a daily,
Of the
self,
in
conversation,
with the world, with the
Mirror.
not a fix in
final,
but a
living, breathing, creature,
It doesn't lie to you. It only shows what's there. The hardest act of
living,
is learning.
how to stare,
I wanted the certainty, I built it from the
rubble,
I wanted the clarity, I found it in the
trouble,
I wanted the version of myself I
recognize,
mirror season gave him back.
revised.
Yeah.
40 funerals,
40 faces at the funeral, 40 visas to finish, 40 versions of the same man in diminishing images. I was the one who studied every fracture in the figures, mapped the distance between when I stood and where the living is. Mama kept the dignity in difficult dimensions. Dealing was a discipline, devotion was the pension. She dissolved the debt in decades of determined intention. I absorbed the doctrine, direction over desperation. The days were dense and narrow, but the nights were navigation. Darkness is a document, if you read it with attention.
Never borrow somebody's belief to stand on.
Never waited for the weather to land on.
Never measure my momentum by the miles around me.
The only map that mattered was the one that I found me.
40 funerals, still standing in the frame.
40 lessons,
None of them came with a name. You survived what you survived.
no explanation.
40 reasons, I remembered every flame.
Now I'm navigating narratives they never thought I'd navigate. Every negative they handed me I grabbed and aggravated. Agitated till the irritants illuminated pathways. Calculated every catastrophe and cataloged the damage. Managed every margin where the majority abandoned. Handing back the narrative they planted and expanded on the version that they vanished. I established and I handed it to every iteration of myself that they had stranded. Reckless with the record and relentless with the reckoning. The medicine was pressure and I swallowed every beckoning of doubt. I rendered every obstacle a reckoning. The lesson in the ledger, let the letters keep on echoing. Polished every failure till the failure became precious. Cold is just a season, I was building through the restless.
40 funerals,
None of them are mine.
40 versions, I survived every line. You've to count your losses, never counted your spine. 40 reasons, now I walk with the time. There is a version of this story where I became one of the 40. I think about him sometimes, the one who almost stayed. I feel for him every single day. He deserved to see this. 40 funerals, I came up the rain. 40 lessons, none of them in vain. 40 funerals, I learned every name.
Yeah. You arrive like
Architecture,
clean and calibrated. Every angle of your entrance carefully
orchestrated.
the vocabulary, the gestures are deliberated. You were silk from the surface and I stood there
Fascinated.
You remember everything I mentioned in the margins. The small details, the preferences, the personal
Compartments,
I kept locked, you found the
combinations,
learned the language, spoke it back to me so fluently I felt the
anguish,
of my own defenses falling if you all are willing.
casualty.
You were present in the way that felt like
Finally,
but silk has always been the softest rope to some way.
sinister.
The warmest rooms of history were built by the
Administrator,
of the coldest calculations.
you were managing
The entry, the exit, and the
inventory.
simultaneously. I didn't read the
Architecture,
till the
architect
shifted. By the time I read the room had already been listed.
listed.
Silk outside,
Venom in the detail,
silk outside.
softest kind of betrayal. Everything you gave me,
Had a price tag in the line.
silk and venom.
I read it in the timing. Silk outside.
You operate
In the margins of the moments I was
open.
Every gesture was a
Token
of a debt you were proposing.
Posing.
Every favor was a future
Invoice
folded.
in the kindness.
Every walk the transaction running
Parallel.
Them blind to my
Reading.
of the situation you were
Capitalizing.
when the gap between my
Trusting.
and my
Rationalizing.
I was cataloging comfort while you
Catalog.
the leverage. I was building something genuine while you were building
Edges.
into every angle of the arrangement.
Every axis.
You were granted was a database. You
Weaponized.
practiced.
The pattern
Was
invisible.
until the
Path
the
undeniable.
reliable became the
Unreliable.
the pliable became the sharp.
Architect.
Reveal what
Architecture.
every kindness was a key clap for rigorous of my
Structure.
The entry
Even more beauty.
The lesson you were sucking venom and I needed both to
Reckon.
with the version of myself that handed over a
Possession.
of the keys before the character had passed a single
Question.
Every wolf eventually reveals the weight of what they
Carry.
You revealed it at the moment when the moment was most
Necessary.
for your exit
A precision.
of the time
Was the signature.
the final
Confirmation.
of the figure.
In the picture.
Silk outside,
Venom in the details.
silk outside.
Softest kind of betrayal. Everything you get with.
Had a price tag in the line.
Silk and venom. I read it in the timing.
Silk outside.
There is a version of this where I never let you in. That version of me was lonely, but he still had everything. I don't know which one of us made the right call. I just know what he called.
So now the radius
The smaller,
and the small,
the feels small.
freedom every subtraction of a surface was addition of a
Reason
to protect the inner.
architecture
So with the different kind of
reading,
not suspicion,
discern,
is a different kind of
seeing.
They taught me that the
softest
based and carried the most,
perish,
that elegance and
danger,
share the same address and
manage
to coexisting people who have
practice.
the form of silk and venom isn't evil, it's a warning about it.
Fall.
Yeah, this huffable I can form, pay the tuition, now I hold the lesson like a lantern, and it's the circle isn't small because I'm broken, it's
Precision,
every person in the past, the more deliberate.
audition.
You were circling venom,
I was grateful for the
friction, stripped away the surface,
and rebuilt with more.
friction. The venom was the medicine I didn't know I
Needed.
I was soft in all the places where I'm should have been.
Completed.
Silk outside,
Venom in the details.
silk outside.
So this kind of betrayal and everything you gave.
Had a price tag in the light.
Silken venom, I read it in the timing.
Silk outside.
Not every beautiful thing is safe. Not every dangerous thing is ugly. The most important lessons always arrive wearing silk. I still remember.
I still remember the specific weight of your silence. Not the quiet kind, the loaded kind, the kind that requires a whole vocabulary just to stand aside without collapsing. I was fluent in that silence practice that I'm rapping. Every layer of the stillness till I found the thing beneath it. The frequency you broadcast when the words weren't worth the breathing. We spoke a dialect that nobody else could translate.
Half gesture, half memory, half the things we didn't say straight.
The grammar of us was irrational and perfect, conjugated in the dark and never questioned on the surface. I knew the architecture of your anger before the anger. I could read the weather of your face from several angles. The micro shift of something in the jar before
The stillness that preceded every storm we fell into under.
I knew you the way you only know a place you've lived inside of. The specific quake of every floorboard, every wall you hide your eyes off. Then I love the whole geography, the difficult, the parts that needed patience, every complicated stain on the history of us.
I wasn't looking for the easy.
I was looking for the real, and real was never breezy.
What burned wasn't the love.
The love was never the accelerant.
What burned was everything we built around it, every prevalence.
Excuse me, made for staying past the point of reconstruction.
Gasoline and roses, beautiful and heading for destruction. Gasoline roses, they bloom before they burn. Gasoline roses, some fires you never learn.
To leave before the leaving.
Takes everything you boo.
Gasoline road.
I planted them with you.
3 years as a country with its own
Geography.
We mapped the border slowly, built the roads, just the two of we. The infrastructure intimate, the language self-invented. The rituals of morning and the evening and the scented.
Memory of ordinary days that felt like
Minorities.
a Tuesday in November with significant accomplishments.
And nothing, just the coffee in the window in the rain.
Just a comfortable silence in your shoulder in my name.
The way you said it when you meant to say something entirely different. I was listening to the spaces.
Quietly.
But every country has a season when the border starts to fracture.
Files arrive without announcement, without drama in the chapters.
Just a gradual recession of the warmth between the hours.
A slow evaporation.
Not a flood, but like the flowers. You forget the water till the forgetting becomes permanent.
We were drying at the edges and chromato almost elegant.
Nobody was the villain in the architecture of the ending.
We were just two people who had the beauty and were spending.
There would remain
I could feel it in the particular quality.
of how you slept beside me.
Present but increasingly.
Somewhere I couldn't follow, I respected every distance.
Even when the distance was the thing I needed most assistance.
Navigating.
I was crowd and you were proud and pride. It's just a pretty name we give the wall we built inside. Gasoline roses, they bloom before they burn. Gasoline roses, some fires you never
To
earned.
leave before the leaving.
I watered them too late.
Gasoline road.
Love was never done to stay.
I don't revisit what we want to find something broken.
I revisit at the finer parts. The crew of love is more than token. Every beautiful thing carries the seed of its undoing.
And every ending is a document of everything worth doing.
I would do the whole geography again without the
Born.
gasoline roses.
Some things burn to show your truth.
What burned between us was the only proof. I know of something real and new.
Now I carry it the way you carry something. Top was never yours to keep, was completely yours regardless. The paradise of love is something past its own coordinates. The tenderness of memory that refuses to be
hardened. I don't want the version where it didn't happen.
I want this one, the real one.
With the burn and the ashen.
Everything that grew from it, you understand it.
Of what love requires when the gasoline is
landed. Gasoline, them roses.
One ignites, someone reminds you.
The fire clears the field, so with the better things to find you.
Not every burning is a loss, some burning is a passage.
I walked through aisles and everything I carried had a
message. Love completely whole.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that glittered had a shadow in the lining. I was chasing every signal, every frequency was shining. Bright enough to blind a part of me that did the reading. I was fluent in arrival, but illiterate in leaving. The beautiful was always where the dangerous was nested. Every ivory surface had a fracture I invested. Everything I had until I built my whole foundation on the architecture of a carefully constructed fabrication. I was present at the table when the table was performing. Didn't read the room until the room stopped.
Performance.
To the version I had scripted. Ivory and Ivory Smoke was always underneath. I just never
ignited.
I chased the ivory.
The ivory was smoke.
I built the ivory.
I built the ivory. The ivory broke.
I wore the ivory.
I wore the
They
ivory.
wore me down instead.
Ivory and smoke.
Same thing.
Different thread, different thread.
Ivory smoke. Everything pristine and burning.
Ivory smoke.
Ivory smoke. Beautiful and never learning.
Ivory smoke.
Ivory smoke. I kept my hands inside my
Flame.
Ivory smoke. I built the whole illusion, knew its name. Now I'm dissecting every defect in the dialect I dealt with. Every elegant deception that I built my confidence felt with. Every filtered fabrication I facilitated fully. Every false foundation I followed foolishly. The pattern of the pretty and the perilous is practice. Ivory is painted, underneath is always fractured. I was reading every surface like a sentence worth believing. Never read the subtext, only process the receiving. Reckless in the reaching, ruthless in the reckoning. Every revelation was a lesson worth the beckoning. I rendered every reversal into relative resistance. Rebuilt every radius with ruthless equidistance. The ivory was always just the surface of the story. Underneath was everything I buried in the blood. The performance I performing, kept on performing to the smoke. Rose through the ivory, no warning. Ivory smoke. Everything pristine and burning.
Ivory smoke.
Ivory smoke. Beautiful and never learning.
Ivory smoke.
Ivory smoke. I kept my hands inside the ivory smoke. I built the whole illusion, knew its name. So here is what the ivory never told me. Everything that blinds you, holds you. Every distant surface has a cost. Day alone before you know it's lost. Smoke was always there before the fire. I mistook the smoke for something
Higher.
built my whole cathedral in the haze. Didn't see the ceiling till it grazed. Ivory smoke. Everything pristine and burning.
Ivory smoke.
Ivory smoke. Beautiful and never learning.
Ivory smoke.
Ivory smoke. I kept my hands inside the ivory smoke.
Nah, I know the smoke. High, 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 high.
Ivory smoke. Every transmission ends. Not because the signal dies, because everything worth saying eventually fires its frequency. This is mine. I've been broadcasting on a frequency nobody charted. Every signal I transmitted came back slightly different.
altered by the distance that it traveled through the atmosphere of living. I was always in ascending, rarely present in the of the stuff that actually mattered. Not the polished, not the ready, not the version calibrated for the room, the unsteady, the one who didn't have the answer in the moment, who sat inside the question like a resident opponent of nothing, just a person in the frequency of trying. The signal was most honest in the spaces of the dying. Certainty, but everything I thought I knew was that, and the only thing transmitting was the raw and the fake truth of being here, imperfect and unfinished. Broadcasting from a tower that the years had not diminished, but had weathered every storm of new calibration. Last signal, still transmitting through the song foundation. I broadcast through the silence, broadcast through the seasons built, broadcast through the loss, every loss, reveal me, last signal, finally, I can feel me, last signal, everything I was afraid to say, last signal, everything that didn't go away, last signal, like an ending, just the clearest frequency, last signal, this is who I always was, hear me. I used to measure worth in the reception. How many ears received the transmission? How many confirmations of the signal? Before I trusted it was real and not a riddle. I was solving in the dark, approval was the answer. I was asking for the map while being the cartographer. Every applause was temporary scaffolding. I was building but I left the scaffolding. I permanently never moved it, never trusted it. Had the structure underneath was solid, I had to adjust. Every water hold the weight of what they thought of it instead of what I built it for. I caught the gift of clarity the hard way. Scaffolding came down, filmed the building standing, found my last signal. Everything I was afraid to say, last signal. Look at me, just the clearest frequency, last signal. This is who I always was, hear me. You don't arrive at yourself all at once. You arrive in increments. A decision here, a Mars there, a season that asked more than you thought you had, and you gave it anyway. That's the signal. There's always been a signal. So I'm leaving this transmission in the open. Not encoded, not resolved, just honestly. Every frequency I carried, every season, every signal that I said without a reason, other than the need to say I was here, present, and the difficult, the beautiful, the pleasant, and the devastating. All of it complete. God became the frequency of being, the heartbeat of a life that didn't ask for perfect transmission. Just honest, just present. Last signal. Still here. Last signal.